morning, and good evening. It's your girl ChucTayyy, and I am here bringing you your RETV sports break. A little bit late this week, but I promise it's for good reason. So let's get started. The NFL has decided to postpone the Pittsburgh Steelers and Tennessee Titans Week 4 game due to the fact that the Tennessee Titans have seen an extreme increase in positive coronavirus testing this week. The count is up to 11 across players and staff for the Tennessee Titans coming off of that Week 3 victory from the Minnesota Vikings. So, what does that mean? Right now, nothing. Just that the game is postponed. It is postponed for later in the season. They have not said if that is going to be a Monday night game or a Tuesday night game, which is the first time that has happened in 70 years. So that remains to be seen. It also remains to be seen if Minnesota has seen an increase in their positive testing across the organization, and they are still scheduled to play on Sunday. But I'm actually surprised that it took this long, 4 weeks, to see this, especially considering that there are a lot of teams who are allowing patrons and fans into the arena and just kind of carrying on. I don't like it. I don't like it. So I've been saying that since week 1, since I saw all those people at the Chiefs game, which is ridiculous. You guys can watch football from home. Like, I get it, but whatever. I'm just surprised that it took this long. And what I hope is that the cases do not continue to spike, because then we're not going to have football at all, number one. Number two, we're going to still be stuck in the house. Like, it's literally October and we're all still sitting at home. And I don't think that resonates with a lot of people, probably because you are not staying home and not wearing your mask and washing your hands. But we just have to check and see what happens. So as of right now, like I said, the game is postponed, not canceled. They are not considering this a bye week for either team at this particular juncture, but that could change, so we'll have to keep our eye out for that. Second up on the docket today, and this is why the episode's a little bit late this week, guys, the NBA Finals has finally started. Woo! Finally. I just feel like it took us so long to get here. Like, so long. Even my cousin was like, she doesn't really follow sports, but she was like, we're still doing this? Isn't we play basketball this long? So again, she doesn't follow sports. She doesn't really understand, bubble and such things like that. But finally, last two contenders, last series before we can crown an NBA championship for this season. The LA Lakers and the Miami Heat. We all knew that this is what was going to happen, right? If you didn't, I don't know what games you watch, but we all knew the Miami Heat was coming in. We knew the Lakers were coming, even though I kind of wanted it to be the Nuggets, but we don't always get what we want. Game 1 officially kicked off Wednesday night again, which is why this episode is late. Wanted to watch the game, and I kind of feel like I should have just recorded my episode on Wednesday like I normally do, because that game was trash. It was garbage. And more so because the Miami Heat just caught the injury bug last night. So if you didn't watch, game 1 kicked off and the Lakers flat out destroyed Miami 116-96 or 98. Now I can't remember. But first of all, we almost lost Jimmy Butler in the mustache. He went down, rolled his ankle, his leg looked kind of funny. Had to get up and kind of walk it off there for a little while. Wasn't quite sure, because he was just really being ginger with that ankle and leg for like a couple of minutes. He ended up staying in the game. However, Bam Adebayo and Goran Dragic are both out of game 1 with 2 different injuries that took place in the first half of the game. Now, it has remained to be seen if they will return for the rest of the series. But if they do not, I'm probably not going to watch it. I'm just not going to lie to you guys, because the show that I saw last night, sans Goran and Bam, not saying that the Heat are trash. They're not, of course, but those are 2 big players for them. I'm not 100% sure what we do about that going forward. So really just need to watch out for that. And I think that will really be It's crazy to say that game one is the turning point of the series. But I mean, this is the first time in the playoffs this year that the Miami Heat have trailed in their series. So I also don't know how much I would appreciate a Laker win with a non-healthy opponent. Maybe? No, I don't think so. It devalues it. That's a word. It devalues it a little bit for me, guys. So how about let's back up here. We're talking a lot about LeBron. He has now entered the NBA Finals with 3 different teams, which I don't really know why we care that that's a stat. We talk about as many finals appearances as he has and so on and so forth. Those stats are, I want to say made up. I mean, all stats are made up, but I don't appreciate them as much as I would if with X amount of titles, it's a double digit final number for him. Off the top of my head, I can't think of what it is, but he doesn't even have half as many chips as he has appearances. So that's problem 1 for me. Problem 2 is he has been in the finals with 3 different teams, which is, again, to me, like, that just shows how much you move around. I don't know how great that makes you. I mean, could you say greatness comes wherever you are? Sure, you could say that. I don't know that I agree with it, but why move around so much? That was the one thing. Hey, anybody that knows me, I love LeBron. I'm not saying you can't do no wrong, because obviously I disagree with this, but I just don't appreciate the stats that much. We're praising him for going to the finals all these years, and again, he's not even 500 on chips to appearances. So is it great? You guys tell me. You tell me. Is it great? Because I don't know. I want to say no. I'm get murdered for that comment, but I want to say no. So back to the current NBA Finals. I don't know how much I appreciate a victory with a stacked team versus a non-healthy team. You give me a stacked team and a stacked team, we're good all day. But I don't know. So we'll just have to see how this one plays out, and we'll talk about it as the series progresses. Now, this is something we talked about before, guys. Doc Rivers. Well, we didn't talk about Doc, but stay with me. Doc Rivers and the Clippers decided to part ways, as if this was a mutual decision. Because after 7 seasons, Doc, not the players, have failed to make it past the second round of the playoffs every year. Or rather, they have failed to make it to the finals every year since he has been there. Now, I have a couple issues with this. This is the thing that we talked about before. These coaches get fired most times, not all of them. Most times they get fired for things that they cannot control. Now, let's look at all of the variables here, if you will. No leadership on that team. Most of the team, or rather the stars on said team, just got there. Not only did they just got there, neither of them were healthy for the entire season. You didn't play your entire season. Like, you played for a little while, had to take a little break, then came back in bubble play. Bubble play that your team, number 5, didn't even want to play in. The Clippers did not want to come in the bubble. They were like, nah, we're good. So all of these factors in this year alone contribute to their demise this specific season. You got Paul George, who flat out said, I'm depressed in here. He didn't want to be there. Depressed, not playing like himself, right? And then let's look back at other years. we still have unhealthy team. You know, Blake Griffin couldn't stay healthy to save his life, jumping over cars and messed up feet and everything else. You know what I'm saying? What else? Lack of leadership across the board. So here's what I'm getting at, right? One, Doc got a lot more time than some of these other coaches have gotten with good teams, right? Even I had this conversation with my husband, Eric Spoelstra. The Heat, they were not that team. Once LeBron got there, they were good, right? They were good. He leaves, they're not good, right? They're not scrubs, but they not going to the playoffs. They're not going to the finals. You know, Eric Spoelstra is still the coach. But why? Because he had Pat Riley in his corner saying, nah, it's not him. It's not his coaching. It's everything else going on in the organization, mainly what is or is not going on with the players. And I do disagree that Doc Rivers should not have been let go. But the owner basically said he didn't have faith that he was going to turn it around with a team that basically just got there. I don't understand. And there are a lot of franchises that do that same thing and don't give as long of a timeline. 7 years doesn't seem like a long time, but when you have these coaches getting fired after 2 or 3 seasons because they failed to turn a team around, a team that you have little control over. I can't control if my players get injured. I can't control free agency. I can't control that some players flat out are not their own people, men. You know, there are some players that are like, I'm going to just go over here with my boys, right? I'm going to just go, you know, like it's strategy. Everything here is strategy, even hiring and firing, strategy, right? I disagree with this. And thankfully, you know, Doc Rivers ain't no scrub. So he's out here interviewing with the Sixers and is one of the top 2 contenders last I checked on ESPN. Him and Mike D'Antoni. They up there and they may be in Philly soon and very soon. But those are the things that I think about when I hear a coach got fired. You know, there are only so many things that they can control. Just like we talked about, you know, these coaches have not all the say-so when it comes to what draft pick or who is drafted into their team. You know, who is traded, who is cut, and again, who gets hurt. So, you know, that was my little tirade about Doc Rivers because I just don't appreciate it. But, you know, we'll see who the Clippers come up with. We'll see if, you know, in the next few years they do something to not lose Kawhi and Paul George. Just find that very unlikely, guys. But, you know, who am I? I just host this little show and I have no say-so, right? Hey. So, last but not least, guys, I want to talk to you about 2 games that I am really excited about for this weekend. Number 1, the Deep South oldest rivalry, Auburn and Georgia, Saturday night. College football that I don't agree you guys should be playing, but again, who am I? So number 4, Georgia, number 7, Auburn, Saturday night. One of the most look forward to college football games, not basketball, football games, will kick off, and it's just always a good time, guys. I mean, football is always a good time, but this in particular is like, I call it SEC Saturday, just on the Saturday that they play. Because it's like the equivalent to UNC Duke basketball, right? And like I said, oldest rivalry, you just, Forrest Gump, never know what you're going to get. So that's definitely a game to watch on Saturday. And then, of course, on Sunday, we have the Pats and the Chiefs. Sidebar, this would have been, the game to watch would have been the Steelers and the Titans as they are both undefeated. But that game's not happening. So the Patriots and the Chiefs will kick off Saturday at 4:25 Eastern Standard Time. I really want to watch this game because it seems like Cam is coming into his own with this Pats offense. He's playing extremely well, although the Pats are 2-1, but I mean, they lost to the Seahawks and the Seahawks. But it just seems, he seems more first few year Panther Cam than last few year Panther Cam with the Patriots. And it seems like the organization, his team, offense, everybody's loving him. I saw a story on ESPN that said no matter what, he keeps his nose in that playbook. It seems like he is really trying to get off of that slump, and he's on the better side of the slump right now. So I really want to see what they do against the defending Super Bowl champs, the Chiefs, who are still 3-0, and Patrick Mahomes, that boy is slinging that thing. He's playing amazing football. The Chiefs as a team are playing great football, and I would feel this way. I hate to say this out loud. I would feel like this is a game to watch even if Tom Brady had not left, because the Chiefs are just playing phenomenal football overall. Patrick Mahomes is, like I said, really, he's throwing that ball. I think he's like 900 yards on the season completed, if I'm not mistaken. So I really want to see on both sides of the football how this works. So Sunday, 4:25 Eastern Standard Time. I believe that game's on NBC. Those are my two games to watch this week. Of course, we're going to follow the NBA coverage as we continue through NBA finals time, and keep an eye out on the coronavirus testing for the NFL and see if any more games get postponed, canceled, if they start kicking fans out or what have you. So speaking of corona, wear your mask, wash your hands 6 feet apart, stay home if you can. I'm your girl ChucTayyy. I will see you guys next week. See ya.